Welcome. I'm glad you're here. Today I think it would be fun if we played a bit of Metroid Prime 4 and we took a look at the work that the developers put into the environments, the way that the audio conveys a sense of atmosphere, not just with the music but with the sound effects. And I'm interested in taking a look at the technical implementation. Retro Studio is consistent in delivering work that I find quite impressive, so I really enjoy taking a look at their work. So we'll just hang out, play some Metroid Prime 4 today, and I wanted to share just some holiday vibes with you. You know, listening to Christmas music has a really interesting effect on me. It reminds me of growing up, you know, back in Michigan and waiting for the first snow to fall and running outside with my siblings and cousins so we could grab our ice skates and head out to the frozen pond, and if it was solid enough, we'd go and skate around, and we'd skate around all day long, and after skating for hours and hours and hours, and a snowstorm would start rolling in, we'd run down the street and we'd go by Mr. McHenry's shop and give him a dime, and he'd give us a bag full of chocolates, and then we'd run home because we know that Mom will have a big old pot of chicken soup ready for us. And I don't live in Michigan anymore, and so hearing Christmas music reminds me all of that. And it makes me nostalgic for a time that I'll never be able to go back to. But the thing is, I never lived in Michigan. All of that stuff never happened. I never grew up in an area that got regular snow. I never ice skated on a frozen pond. I never ran through a snowstorm to get home to my mom cooking chicken soup. That's never happened to me. That's not the life that I lived. I grew up in sunny California, where we just had fog. But there's something interesting about Christmas music that makes me feel that, even though it's something that I've never personally experienced. Music is a form of art, and art is able to communicate to us. It's able to reach deep inside of us and make us feel something that we otherwise would not ever feel. Music is an experience. It's a form of art, and art is a celebration of the soul, of life, of your experience of having existed on this world. And that is what is so important. So if you are an artist, if you create, if you actually make things, you don't ask a little computer, you don't push a little button after putting some words in there and then tell it to generate something for you. That's not art. That is generation. If you create art, then I hope you understand on a deeper level what is so important about it, why we need to work even harder as artists to make sure that we elevate our craft, to take that art form as far as it can go, as high as it can go, and to pass that on to the next generation by inspiring them. And in order to do that, we need to work as hard as we possibly can as artists. So if you are an artist, I want to ask you this holiday season, do not despair. Hang in there. People will appreciate what you do. Let's take a look at the art that's produced by Retro Studio. I've never been an alien. I've never been on an alien planet. I've never worn a really cool mechanical suit of power armor, but it's still a really cool feeling. Now, in the previous episode on this channel, where I took a look at Metroid Prime 4, I spent quite a bit of time taking a look at this area, and so I won't be doing that again. I'm just going to rush through all of this. We'll get to taking a look at areas of the game that I haven't seen yet. I haven't had much time to play the game, as I've actually just finished up development of one of my games called Hero of Destiny. Was killed by the final boss. I'm doing final testing and balancing on that, so I'm very excited to be able to share that game with you very soon. This is a great use of particle effects, and you can see there's this sense of light streaming in, but that is not true volumetric lighting, as that would make this game run at a much lower frame rate. Volumetric lighting is quite expensive. I've explained that a couple times in my previous video, so I won't spend too much time going over that, but it's just an advanced imaging technique that allows us to convey a sense of density in the atmosphere. What we are looking at, that is just a piece of geometry with a shader on that. A shader is part of the program that tells the game engine how geometry should be rendered, how it should look. I really adore these details of these hanging vines, just slightly, very gently swaying in the wind. It conveys a sense of life in this atmosphere. They combine that with these little particle effects of the pollen that look like little leaves blowing around, and that sunlight conveyed through, that's just geometry, it's not volumetric lighting, but it looks like there is some movement to it that's probably combined with a particle system to convey that sense of movement and dynamic expression with the lighting. Really fantastic. As you get close, it fades out, which is something I see with their particle effects here. And I'm sure there's a logical reason for it, but it also stops us from figuring out that those are just... it's just plain geometry. So, very clever to see that. I'm glad to see that. How interactable? I think these are not that interactable. Okay. The last time I was wasting all my missiles, so... Oh, I like that. I like that when you shoot that, it sprays gunk on the visor. Really fantastic. And there's a cool detail here. I think if you pause the game with this, for a split second... Did you see it? Did you see it? Okay. Again. Take a look at the screen. Watch right here. Did you see it? You see Samus's eyes reflecting in the visor. That is a fantastic detail. I noticed that the other day, someone pointed it out. It sets the abstract normality, what we can expect, and what we can expect is that we are reinforcing this as a visor, that Samus is wearing this, and you are playing through the perspective of Samus, in that it's not just realism. It's, hey, you know sometimes when you're using your phone and then your screen blacks out on your phone and you can see yourself for a second? It just adds that bit of immersion that it's fun, is what that is. And video games are meant to be fun. Not a lot of people know this. Not a lot of people know this, but video games are meant to be fun. Oh, I like this. I like this detail. This makes it, this really sells the fact that we are on an alien planet. It's hollow in the middle of those fronds. In general, when I work in Unity and I need to block out the lens flare, I can only block out the lens flare with a collider that has to be defined. And I think that they are using a different approach here, because it would be a nightmare having to put colliders on all of these plants just to block out the lens flare. It's possible they did that, but that would have taken a lot of work on these kinds of designs. I don't know if I'm being tricked here. I believe there is subsurface scattering on that. Here's the thing, these developers implement a number of techniques to trick you into thinking that you're seeing something that's more advanced than it actually is. Here's the thing, right? Like, I think I'm being tricked. Because if there were true subsurface scattering, these leaves would be very bright right now. But you see how the lens flare, the source of light is behind them, and they don't look bright. But as you go here, it looks like light is shining through the leaves. It looks like subsurface scattering. Subsurface scattering has a performance cost. And what they've done, I think they're using the lens flare to fake the subsurface scattering. And that's basically free in terms of performance. That's basically free. And that looks so good, right? They're using the lens flare for that. Because look at that. That looks like subsurface scattering. What I'm pointing at right here, that looks like subsurface scattering. But it's not, because if that lens flare is called out, you no longer get the light shining through the leaves in an intense way when that lens flare is on. That's, like I said, in terms of performance, it's basically free. Die, creatures, die! You don't belong in this world! I missed all of them. Oof, that was not a good showing of my marksmanship. Oh, check this out. Check this out. What a small detail. There's no reason for them to implement things like this. Look at the water as it hits the rock. And again, it's not water. It's not real. Whoa, 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 an insect. Jeez. Whoa, 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 whoa. Something's hurting me here. Die, monster. You don't belong in this world. I gotta turn on motion controls. This, I really, really appreciate this detail here. And it's just a shame that as you get closer, it really fades out. But it conveys a sense that the water is flowing downhill and it is interacting with the world. It is hitting the rock there, the water, the flow of the water is hitting up against the rock and causing it to splash. Excellent, excellent conveyance. Conveyance and expression is what is important. Really fantastic. I'm being tricked so hard right now. I am. The lens flares using, it's probably like additive calculation. Take a look at that. Oh, wow. The environments. Oh, check out that big tree. It looks like there's some sort of magical alien sparkle shimmering down from it. It makes the world feel lived in. Check out the lighting on the edge of that. It looks like this huge tree is catching the sun. If there were a real time of day system, they would not be able to implement visuals that look like this and run at this frame rate. This is all baked. So that, oh man, here I go, appreciating the environment, and I fall off a cliff here. This is really fantastic. Great use of very simple particle systems for the clouds and the fog. There's some of that. I think some of that is not animated. I think some of that is just a billboard. There's a very strong chance many of these clouds are billboards that are just in place, and that works because they are in the distance, and we don't ever really change the perspective because they are so far away that we can't have those be just billboards. I believe there's normal data, so it's either normal data or it is baked. It would take extra work to bake all of that. It'd be annoying. I would have just slapped a normal map on it. This is really great choice of colors. Look at this. Oh, is that a ring on the planet? Oh, I think it is. I think they're expressing that there's a ring around the planet. Check out the excellent use of colors. We have this light cyan here. Provides some tonal contrast to the warm glow of that lens. The lens flare is doing such a massive amount of heavy lifting. I did a game on the 3DS called Silver Falls 3 Down Stars, and there were people that were messaging me when they were playing it. They were saying like, man, the lens flares look really good in this, and they kind of noticed the lens flares are doing a lot of heavy lifting because I couldn't have advanced lighting and shadows on Silver Falls 3 Down Stars on the 3DS. I was really limited with what I could do to express the environment, and I relied heavily. Ow, my face! That hurt me. Oh, come back. I'm gonna hurt you real good. Yeah, I relied heavily on the lens flares, and it's doing a lot of heavy lifting there. I really like that. There are multiple components to it. There's this really bright golden glow. There's the star in the middle. There's a rainbow halo. Yeah, excellent. This is probably some of the best use of lens flare I've seen in a while. Really great to see that. Fantastic. I like how lived in the world feels. I like how alive everything feels because of the animated foliage. Great use of height fog right here. But is that a particle system or is it height fog? The height fog should continue, unless it was volumetric, it should be consistent throughout the entire environment. So that's not, I believe that's still just part of the particle system. Excellent use. Again, particle systems are so, they're such a fundamental and simple part of expressing an environment in games, and it's used so well. It's basically they're taking it to the limit. Like, how well can you use something simple to make a game look more advanced than it actually is? What are these little dangly bobs? I killed one, and I killed it real good. Let's go ahead and open this up. This is fun. I feel like we're unloading whatever's back there. I think that's what these gates are for. We've unloaded the assets from there so we can load in whatever assets. Well, it's got to be 2 zones loaded in at once, right? You have to load that one and this one in simultaneously because you can see both through the door. But anything beyond that, because there were multiple doors, anything beyond that is no longer... Yo, let me up that. Let me up that bank. I want to go up there. Please let me physics my way up there. Okay. So that is your invisible wall. Great implementation on that. Again, it's conveying a sense that the world is huge, even though it's not. There's a real limit to what we can fit in a game where we have to have a very tailored experience. This is not an open world. It's very tailored and catered to deliver a consistent experience to the player, and we need to make the game not feel small. And they've done a brilliant job. Like, look how things extend out into the distance. As you move left and right, they have placed objects in increasing depths or increasing distances from the player, and it makes the world feel bigger than it actually is. See how there's never a blank spot as we look through here? Really well considered. It you can kind of see. Can I go up there? Do I eventually go up there? Maybe, we'll see. This is so well done, and I just want to kill these things. I'm gonna kill them dead. I'm gonna kill this good. I'm gonna kill you good. I'll spike thee! In the name of the Galactic Federation, I spike thee! I spiked him real good. Is that too high for me to pick up? No! Oh no! I'm leaning back like I'm somebody's uncle. I don't know how to play video games. I killed it too high. Gee, look at this. Look at the geometry of the architecture and how the developers used height maps to overlay this moss over it. Really great use of very simple imaging techniques. And, oh yeah, I like the spreading of the roots there. Really fantastic. Just extends upwards, and it's broken. It broke. It's broken. I just want to break this one. I want to break it because it's perfect. This is really great. I just like that it splashes. Now, I do declare, I believe I do stick something in that there hole. Here, really quickly, if you're interested in seeing what I'm working on, I just updated my Sungrand Virtual Studio, and my Virtual Studio is an interactive devlog where you can play that for free in your web browser, and you can see what I'm working on. Is that reflecting my shot? Or am I imagining? Ooh, it is reflecting my shot. Look at that. Very interesting. I wonder why it's done that. Very cool. Yeah, I'll put the link in the description. You can hang out with some of the characters from the games that I've done. You can recruit them. You can engage in battles. So in my virtual studio, right now there's only one Buster Zone. It's Christmas themed, so go ahead and check that out. You can battle Christmas, wintry themed enemies, and you can use characters from my games. You guys that have been supporting me, playing my games, and chatting and hanging out with me, you guys that support here on the channel, you guys are actually showing up as cameos in that virtual studio, and some of you are going to start being playable. There's also guest characters. I recently added Santa Claus, so please check that out. There's going to be more on live stream. The other day, the people in the chat decided what kind of creature we would create, so we created a creature based on whatever the chat said. That creature turned out to be the Bayou Scraggler, and so I've added the Bayou Scraggler as a recruitable character. He was meant to be a monster, but he ended up being recruitable. But there will be monsters of the Bayou Scraggler that you can fight as well, so keep an eye out. In the next day or two, I'll be adding a second Buster Zone where you'll be able to fight the Bayou Scraggler. Just check it out. Check out my virtual studio. You can play it in your web browser. I strongly recommend using a controller. The playable character has Christmas-themed weapons right now. Look at the spores coming off of this. I feel like I'm gonna have allergies, and I haven't had allergies in a very long time. Ooh! He did a big spin, and then he shot out needles. That is a cool attack. You see him arc out? That's fantastic. Great use of fog. You know, they don't have to put those fog particles there, but because they put them there, see how it breaks up the environment? This is following the design philosophy of breaking the line, not just in terms of composition, but in tonality. So we have this part of the environment here is more vibrant, and we have this plant here, and putting that fog particle there just breaks things up a little bit more and adds depth, conveys a sense of depth to the atmosphere. And maybe that's why they want it to fade away, because they don't want things to feel, because they're using that to make that environment feel more distant than it actually is, to break up that the dynamic contrast of this harsh, sharp, saturated environment, and then things in the distance are a little softer, you know, and that makes things feel farther away. This is so great. It's interesting, right? The geometry that they've created to serve as your boundary walls, they're not just some flat wall. It's not the N64 anymore, you know? Really great. I'm obsessing over these small, minor things that super don't matter. I have to. I just have to bust this open. Give me them balls. I don't exactly know what these balls do. I just know that I must have them. I didn't go in a circle, did I? No. I wouldn't have gone in a circle. I went in a circle. Yes, I didn't pay attention. I was busy admiring the environment. What is this? I'm gonna touch this ball. Oh, I'm getting something. I'm getting something real good here. I don't know what this is. We're gonna find out what this is. I really hope the audio hasn't been too loud this whole video. I'd had to change my audio setup. Oh, I got something. I got a power. Aim at the moat and hold ZL. Now there's a door. There was a door that had this. I'm pressing it. I'm pressing ZL. This is the moat. I thought it wanted me to grab something on the door, but I gotta grab these balls. Okay, I'm gonna grab this ball. I'm gonna jam it all up in there. That's what I said. I foreshadowed that earlier in today's episode. I said I was gonna jam a ball up in there, and I did. And that is how we Metroid. Oh, check out these light. Check out these sort of like a rainbow light ray. I think that's... Oh, that's just baked. That's baked in there. That's really great. You see how I'm not... We never see a shadow from... Hold on. I'm just looking at the shadow that Samus is casting here to... I just want to confirm. And then we get to see her whole body. I believe you can still see that... Yes, you can still see the rainbow effect, the rainbow projection on the ground through her shadow, which means that is baked. That's not being projected in real time. If it was being projected in real time, then as Samus's shadow passes over that, you would no longer see any of the rainbow halo. So that is that's baked in real time, and good gracious, that looks fantastic. They did a great job with that. Man, oh man, oh man, oh man. I feel like I could be learning many things from these developers. This is really great use of the technology that's available to them. And this looks incredible on the original Switch. I will say that. It looks and runs absolutely fantastic. Do I have to double back now and go to that previous area? Or... Anyway, this has been delightful. So great. Let me know if you would like me to make more episodes covering this game and discussing it and in the same format. Let me know if you would like that. I've got some Christmassy stuff to do today, and I haven't even started on my Christmas movies. This is terrible. So I need to watch, obviously, the Home Alones, you know, the two real ones. I need to watch Rare Exports, which is my favorite Finnish movie, and it's tied for #1 for my favorite. Okay. Anyway, take care, everyone. Be well. Let me know if you want more episodes in this format. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. Catch up again soon.